How you doing, folks? Papa Joe here. Using that newfangled light now. I'll be uptown. I was driving today, imagine that, and I was thinking, I thought about a video I ought to make for you new drivers. One that some of this stuff used to irritate the dickens out of me. Nowadays I just let it roll off my back. But it won't hurt to give you all a heads up. The most aggravating thing is when you get to hearing some of these drivers out here running their mouths and putting out false information. I mean, now I don't know if it's out of malice or ignorance or what, but they will hear something, whether it's from another driver, safety meeting, company meeting, whatever, and all of a sudden now they're telling you that this stuff is law. Such as they'll try to tell you that DOT has to give you 15 minutes to get your logbooks right for those running paper logs. No, they don't. Your logbooks was supposed to be right when you got stopped. So now you hear about them waking drivers up and all this stuff. I've never had it happen if I was legally parked and all that. I had them wake me up one time when I was illegally parked on a ramp in a rest area. But he didn't harass me. He just shined his light on the no parking sign, and I said, "Yeah, got you." But no, when your logbooks are supposed to be up to date all the time, and if you stopped and fueled and whatnot, you're supposed to log that. And when you start rolling again, it should show you on the drive line. So whether you got stopped on the side of the road or at the scale house or whatever, that logbook should be caught up automatically. If your logbook is not caught up, then you're in violation. And no, they do not have to give you any time to do that. Another one, and I don't know where that came from. I ain't got a clue who started that, but another one is DOT says that you're supposed to log 5 miles an hour under the speed limit. No. DOT will not tell you what speed to log. What DOT tells you to do is log it as it happens. Meaning, if I leave this truck stop I'm at here at 10 o'clock in the morning, I'm supposed to show leaving here at 10 o'clock in the morning. Wherever I stop down the road in 4 hours, I'm supposed to show that I got there at 2 o'clock in 4 hours. You're not really supposed to calculate miles and do all that. The majority of us do it that way, or did. I'm on computer log. I ain't got to do it now. But we did that to save ourselves half hour, whatever we could during the day. Because you cannot, if the speed limit's 70 miles an hour and you're running 70 miles an hour, you're not going to average 70 miles an hour. You ain't going to do it. And where that come from was more than likely is from companies telling drivers that they needed to log 5 miles an hour under the speed limit. And it could have been the company's policy, but it is not the law. And DOT will tell you, any DOT officer you talk to will tell you, log it how you ran it. Which, if you talk to some of us old drivers, you'll hear us talking, and we'll say that we ran it and then made the logbook match it. You know, that's just how we used to do it. The one that always got my goat, and I had one of my boys out here with me when they was still young. They was teenagers. And we went into, it used to be a TA there in Ohio. I can't think of where it was, but I'd been running some Detroit freight. They used to have a counter, horseshoe-shaped counter, and the waitress, she could just walk down the middle and take care of everybody. Well, we called that the Liars Club or the Liar Circle. And boy, was there some stories told there. And I'd been telling my son earlier while I was driving about these drivers that go telling you about, oh, I called the federal marshal, that DOT or that state trooper or that whoever, and I called the federal marshal and he lined them out. They're full of crap. The federal marshal has absolutely nothing to do with trucking. Nothing. And most of those that are telling this story would tell you how they've got a phone number in their wallet. Well, show it to me. I can't. Right, because you ain't got one. Federal marshals, they escort convicts, they protect politicians and judges and that kind of stuff. They have absolutely nothing to do with trucks. Nothing at all. Well, I'd been telling that boy about this, and we went into this truck stop, and we sat down at the Liars Club, and here's a guy from Canada, and he's telling this extravagant story, and he commenced to calling the federal marshal in this story, and I told him point blank, I said, no, you didn't. Oh, yeah, I did. I said, dude, federal marshals ain't got nothing to do with trucking. You didn't call no federal marshals. And he just blew me off, continued his story, and called the federal marshal 2 or 3 times. And I turned to my boy. I said, see what I'm talking about, son? That he's so stupid that he can't even listen to what I'm telling him. Federal marshals ain't got nothing to do with trucking. So when you go hearing one of them stories, guarantee you, ain't got nothing to do with trucking. But the moral of this is the information you get out here, including the information from me, you need to double check it. Don't take none of this nonsense that you hear from truck drivers out here as gold. Don't do it. They are so full of bull that they're going to mess you up. The thing with these computerized logs and all this stuff, it's removing a lot of that, but it's still out here. If you find yourself in a situation where you're hearing these stories and it might affect you in some way, something that you think you really need to know the truth about, the best thing to do is to call the company you're driving for and find out where your company stands. Period. Now, that being said, I was driving for a company out of South Carolina, and they wanted us to do our post trip of a morning. And I said, that ain't how it works. You do a pre-trip of a morning, and you do a post-trip at the end of your day. And I argued with them, and they let me know that they wanted it done their way. Okay. So I started doing it their way. Got out in Washington, state of Washington. And they gonna do a little check on me, and he sees this, and he says, driver, and I said, I already know, dude. I said, but I've tried arguing that with the company, and I was put in my place. And he promptly showed me and the laws, and printed out a copy for me to send to the log department, which I did. He didn't write me up. He gave me a warning, gave the company a warning, and all this. He was cool about it on my part. And he told me, he says, it's going on the record, and it will be addressed in an audit and see if it's been fixed. Buell. That was the company of them. B-U-E-L, Buell. They got the blue footprints on the back doors, if you ever see them. So I got back to the yard, and I'd started logging it right, like I knew it was supposed to be done. And they informed me that they had been audited and all this other stuff in the past, and all this was legit stuff, and this is how they wanted it. And their whole thing was, well, who's to know when your day ended? Your 24-hour day could be ending when you start your next day. Okay, whatever. I continued to log it my way, which I didn't last a whole lot longer with that company anyway. I've had a few companies like that it didn't work out. There's a couple things over here with this company that I find very questionable about our logging practices, and brought it up to the logging company and our logging department, and I'm doing it their way. I mean, in the long run, it saves me time on my 70 hours, so, and there's very few DOT cops out here that wants to actually look at my log on this computer, because they know you're pretty much running legal if you got a computer log. However, when they get when they get audited, then they'll have to address it in the office. And then it'll be on the company, not on my back. But the moral of the story is don't take nothing that these drivers out here are telling you for a grain of salt. We have another old saying out here: do you know how to tell when a truck driver's lying? His lips are moving. There's a lot to that one. So if you're new out here and you start hearing these crazy stories, call your company and see where your company stands. Chances are they have a policy about it, or they'll tell you what the federal law is. Don't put yourself in jeopardy by doing anything crazy with your logs, running illegal and counting on having 15 minutes to get your log straight. You don't have 15 minutes. And that's about the size of it. There's a couple other things, but my sometimers got me and I forgot them. But that gives you the gist of the idea. Remember, God loves you, and so do I. I hope these videos help you. Y'all have a good evening now. Good night.